has been a long time since I have seen a Transformers movie in theaters, but at least this time there wasn't a bunch of discombobulating aspect ratio changes. Hello everyone, welcome back to 3D Reviews. Today we're taking a look at Transformers Rise of the Beasts, the sequel to Bumblebee, which came out, it feels like that came out a million years ago, and I'm happy to say that this movie has continued the trend of not making a terrible Transformers movie. Now, I'm not super in the goop with the Transformers lore, but I do know things like Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Unicron, basically everything from the Bayformers movies, and I am vaguely aware of the animal Transformers, although they don't really do any transforming in this movie. So are they Transformers? Like, I don't know what the deal is with that, but I can tell you right now that if you are a fan of the Transformers and the property and all that stuff, you're probably going to enjoy this movie. I don't even really have to recommend it or not recommend it to you. I feel like you're gonna have a great time no matter what. But for everyone else, this is basically what we're looking at. There is this giant world-eating planet called Unicron, and there's this key that allows you to travel through time and space. And Unicron uses this key, or he wants to use this key, in order to just eat a bunch of planets to sustain itself. So these beasts, these giant robot transformer beasts, send the little key away to planet Earth, because apparently that is the only planet that exists in the entire universe, and somehow everything that the Transformers do, all of their garbage, all of their MacGuffins and stuff somehow end up on Earth. I don't know how, but that's just the way it happens. We just keep getting extremely unlucky with this whole thing. This is way in the past, and then they go to the far-off year of 1994 in New York City, and there's this guy named Noah, and he's down on his luck, and his little brother has sickle cell, and there's this other person named Elena who works as an intern at a museum, and she's trying to get the respect that she deserves because she's very smart and she just kind of gets mistreated. And these two characters end up coming together and have to work with the Autobots in order to find both parts of this key, because it's been split apart, in order to stop the Terrorcons, as they call them, I believe that's what they're called in this movie, from bringing Unicron to Earth and sucking up the planet and killing everyone and then ending thousands and thousands of worlds. It's obviously bad. We don't want that to happen, especially not Earth, because we live there. So that's the plot of this movie. This is a very solid movie. The main characters, Noah and Elena, are very likable. They're very charismatic. Everyone has sort of an arc, and there's a lot of surprises, a lot of twists and turns. They did things in this movie that I was like, oh my god, I cannot believe they actually just did that. Even if it's stuff that isn't permanent, I'm really surprised that they ended up going through with it to begin with. I won't say what those things are. I don't want to spoil anything. I did enjoy this movie. It's just a solidly made movie. There's lots of fun, action, and excitement and adventure. It's been a while since I've seen a movie where I'm like, yeah, it was just a solid time and I enjoyed myself. Especially if you're a Transformers fan, you are going to love this movie. Now, if there's anything I had to knock this movie for, and I don't know too much of the Transformers stuff, so if this is like par for the course, please forgive me. Optimus Prime seemed really aggressive and angry in this movie. Like, in the Bayformer movies, he was always about defense and protecting, but here he's talking about like killing the bad guys and ripping their heads off, and he's like so angry and he's like furious, and he's saying his, Peter Cullen is saying his lines, and he sounds absolutely livid. And I don't know if that's like normal for him, but it kind of took me off guard, because that really wasn't the Optimus Prime that I had known from the other movies. But like I said, I don't know anything Transformers outside of that, so maybe this is kind of something that happens with Optimus Prime. I know he has like his own character arc as far as trusting humans is concerned in this movie, but I don't know if that usually comes with him being unusually angry and aggressive. It just seemed a little out of character for me. Also, a lot of the beasts just kind of get pushed to the background. There's like a cheetah character and a rhino character, and they just don't really do anything with them. They show up for like a few scenes, but only one of them has any speaking line. The other Transformers do get their moments to shine, and they all are very well defined. One of the biggest issues with the Bayformers movies is that all the Transformers seem to look the same, they all blend together. But something great about this reboot series is that even while still looking realistic, all the characters have their own distinct style, and you can tell them all apart. They're all very, very unique. That is something that does work in this movie's favor. It just is a shame that some of the Beast formers get pushed to the background and don't really have anything to do. There are two things about this movie. One of them is not really a spoiler, but it is a fun Easter egg for the Bayformers movie. I don't remember if it was in the Bumblebee movie, but I know for a fact that obviously it's in here. And I was actually really surprised that it was in this movie. I won't say what it is, but when you watch it, you're gonna know it. And I was like, man, that is cool, because it's one of the better things from the Bayformers movies. And then there's one thing at the end. And I'm actually surprised this was not the mid or end credits scene. But the final scene, it's gonna bring down the house. And I'm actually really interested to see where things go with that. If they're gonna do it with just that one thing, or if they're gonna expand out even further than that, which would just be insane. But we will see how that goes one step at a time. I don't want to say what it is, but I'm telling you now, if you love Hasbro, you're going to be very excited. Let's talk about the 3D. The 3D in the Transformers movies has always been fantastic. Michael Bay has always pushed the envelope with the 3D. He's the one that helped get the IMAX 3D cameras off the ground, and then basically no other director used them ever again after Transformers 5. But it is something that exists. This movie is obviously not shot in 3D. It is post-converted into 3D, but it is still fantastic looking in 3D. I remember seeing the previews for this movie in 3D and was just blown away about how deep it was. And I'm happy to say that the entire movie does have a lot of depth. There's a lot of surprising shots where the 3D is very prominent. There's pop-outs in this movie, especially with projectiles, arm cannons. There's shots of like bird's eye view shots that are really deep, like in the city or in the jungle. There's a lot of layers and views, and this is just a very solidly made 3D movie. I think that this movie is definitely worth seeing in 3D. You will not be disappointed with the 3D presentation. Even watching the trailer in 2D, you can tell that there's a lot of moments that would probably look really badass in 3D, and I can assure you that they do. So, much like with the other Transformers movie, this is of course a recommendation for 3D. It is very deep, it is very well produced. There are moments that feel like they were tailor-made and designed for 3D, and the cinematography in some of the scenes is very well done. Like I've always been saying, good cinematography will always lend itself to better 3D. Anyway, that's all I gotta say about this movie in general. The XD presentation was also really good. This is definitely a movie you want to see on a large screen. Giant robots, big action, this giant planet-eating thing. It's screaming for you to see on a large screen. So definitely do that. The sound is also fantastic as well. I am still working on the Little Mermaid 3D reviews. I've recorded everything. I'm just going through and editing it, and I'm adding more stuff during the editing process, fun little history things. It's going to be a little bit more involved than the other 3D reviews. I'm trying to add a little bit more flavor and spice into it rather than it just be static me watching the movie, talking over it. I want to add some more things and weave things in and out throughout the review. You guys go check it out. If you have time this weekend and you're like, I've seen everything else that's come out this weekend, you're not going to be disappointed by this. This is just a fun, action-packed time. And you don't gotta think too hard, but you will have a few moments of genuine emotion in it. There was a few moments where I'm like, damn, I'm kind of feeling some things, and I didn't expect that out of a Transformers movie. Thank you all so much for checking this video out, and I will see you all next time. Whether that's for Elemental or for Little Mermaid, we will see. Okay, see you later.